Shields up, Iron Breakers, and welcome back to Kast. I'm here with FightinCowboy, so naturally we're going to be talking about the upcoming From Software game, Elden Ring Nightreign. FightinCowboy, how you doing, bro?
Pretty good. You know, just coming off of a 60-hour week of Nightreign. Just previewing.
See, that's the thing. I'm deeply ashamed. I was only able to get 33 hours in. Like, real life has been kicking into high gear. I'm telling you, bro, when your kids start growing a little bit older, you're going to feel this. You're going to feel this real hard.
Oh, I'm sure I am, but I have a wedding I'm leaving for in like a week and a half. So I was like, all right, I got to get this all done. I got to get all the episodes scheduled, and just it was just a block of like work. It was actually, so we had as busy as I've been. So once a month, all the guys in the neighborhood, we get together for like a men's night. We call it Whiskey and Wisdom, and we'll usually like discuss some pretty deep stuff, like whether we're getting into like religion or politics, whatever the case is. And usually we'll like drink and do cigars. And recently I've been a lot more into gummies, like CBD gummies.
Those are like edibles, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Basically. But, you know, it's like you get that same, like, chill vibe that you would hit when you're, like, reaching that, like, peak drunkenness.
Yep.
But, like, no hangover or anything. But this was, you know, coming off of the crazy Nightreign work week. So we're sitting there. I don't even know what we're talking about. We were talking about, like, something with, like, you know, what level of control a judge should have based on the situations and whether a district judge should be able to discharge. And I was like, well, I am judging myself to go the fuck to bed. It was like 9:30. They're like, what? And I was like, it's sleepy time. Goodbye. They're like, wait, where are you going? I was like, it was a long week. That gummy's hitting. I'm going to sleep. And instead I went home. I got ready to go to bed. And then I was like, wait, I'm hungry. And then the munchies hit. And my wife had just bought these like ice cream sandwiches, and they were like 2 for 1 at Kroger. So I was like, oh, let me try the chocolate one. I ate that. And I was like, I better try the caramel one. I ate that. And then
I better make sure this is good.
Yeah, and I was like, there's leftover pizza. I'll eat that. Ooh, a cupcake. I'll eat that. And then I was like, I think I want one more chocolate one. And I ate that. And then
dude,
I like laid in bed. And then I woke up like an hour later, and I was like, I require more chocolate. And I finished the whole box off. It's like one evening, just a quick 3,000 calories. That's the danger of gummies. It's not that you're going to drunk drive and crash your car. It's that you're going to ruin any diet whatsoever that you thought you had.
So it's like, listen, as somebody who has stomach problems, I'm like, I would die if I do that. If I didn't die on the next morning, I would feel like I died and then came back to life or something.
Maybe it would fix you up, man. You'd be surprised. I'll say this. When I take a gummy now, I sleep the best sleep in the entirety of my life. I will take one, and I'm just like, it's time for big sleep. Like, you know, you played Expedition 33, right?
Not all of it. I only played a bit.
All right. Well, it's like SKA vibes. You're like, it's sleepy time.
Oh,
like,
okay. I remember that part. Yeah,
like you were just going out, man. You're down.
I need to get 1 or 2 of those then, like, because my sleep times have been absolutely terrible. I wake up sore every single time. It's like if I sleep to my right side, I wake up sore on my right arm. Usually I'll wake up in the middle of the night with like no feeling on my arms. It's like I'm messed up, dude. I'm destroyed. But yeah,
it's we'll get you some of the good stuff. I mean, you're over in Europe, so I'm sure there's like the good over there.
I'm pretty sure I think all that stuff is even legal in Portugal. I just never decided to try any of that. But
probably, yeah. I tried it because my wife has a lot of like chronic pain issues, and so I got it for her. And
that's how it
initially
starts.
Yeah, I got it for her, and then she was like, she was like, well, try it to make sure it's not gonna like really fuck me up. And I tried it, and like the first couple times I was like, it didn't do much. Like I had to like really kick up the dose for it to affect me, but I'm like, you know, 2.5 times her size. But so she has it and it does okay, but anytime she has gummies, she gets like super anxious from them. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. And meanwhile, I just get like the vibe. Like, I took one and went to karaoke, and I was just
it's like
zone.
It's like the sleeping pills thing. Like I once tried these sleeping pills, and it was terrible. Like I got sleep paralysis. It was so bad. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. It's just like, screw
I can't
this.
move my arms. He's coming for me.
It was really bad. But anyway, let's jump into more important things. So I was bringing some of this real life stuff up because you said you played like 60 hours. I was only able to get 33 hours in. And the
We
fun
got you through everything though. We got you
No,
through
I'm
through the
missing
bosses.
yeah, I'm missing one
You're
thing still.
you're missing he who will not be named.
He who shall not be named, yeah. But the thing was that this is the thing that I wanted to bring up, which is I got more done throughout Saturday and Sunday in I don't know how many hours I played. Probably must have played like 8 hours or something like that. I got like almost everything of the game done in those 8 hours with you, me, Tragic, and sometimes other people. But that was it. It was just like going boom, boom, boom. Because the rest of the week I was trying to get matches because the way that the game works, guys, right now is we have like a Discord with a bunch of people that are playing the game. And you can either try and get randoms or whatever other people that are trying to review the game. And sometimes people don't have comms and all of that stuff. It is a struggle, like if you're not communicating or if people aren't like following marks or stuff like that. Like it is a bit of a struggle. So most of my progress was done this weekend with Cowboy. But you know what it is? It was actually really refreshing for us to just play a video game together. We don't do that very often.
I said it outright in my review. I'm just going to spoil my review end here. I said that playing this game with friends, when you're communicating, you're going through items, it's like a solid 4 out of 5. Like there's problems, but the fun factor keeps it alive. When you are playing this with randoms, it's like putting your dick through a cheese grater. It is the most miserable experience ever. And the things you see will just turn you off from the game completely.
So let's just get some of the more basic stuff out of the way for, like the visual side of things and whatnot. I think that visual wise, this looks pretty much same as Elden Ring. Like nothing really changes much.
I think visual, audio, storytelling, it's just one for one from Elden Ring. We still have the obscure ass storytelling. I mean, well, a ton of it was just reused assets. So like, if you think Elden Ring looks like crap, you're going to think it looks like crap too. If you loved Elden Ring, you're going to love this.
Yeah, the look of this. Yeah. Sounds pretty much same story. Yeah. It's the same sounds as Elden Ring. So if you like the quality of sounds in Elden Ring, all of that stuff is going to go through. So I think we'd go through and talk about like really flesh out the gameplay loop. So you're going to jump into the game. You're going to have like an introductory mission, gives you like the basic understanding of how the game works. And then you're going to go into the game proper and you're going to jump in. And let's say you're doing like a 3-player thing, whether that's with friends or with randoms. You jump in and you're going to get flown in a Spectral. For those of you that didn't play the network test, in a Spectral Hawk, you get flown in and the map has been dynamically generated. I mean, the map itself is always the same, but the things in the map, like the camps, the bonuses that you can get from the camps and all of this stuff changes. Does the church locations change as well, right?
They do. We'll talk more about the roguelike aspect later. I think that's a whole topic,
discussion.
But there's like 6 set possible locations basically.
Yeah, for churches and things to spawn, but the spawn locations of stuff changes. But you're jumping in and it's like it's day 1. So your objective, level up as fast as possible and get as many power-ups as fast as possible, and then the ring starts closing in. There's a flame ring, starts closing in, limits the area that you have access to. So the thing is, if you want to do stuff that's further away from the map, you want to do those first because those are going to get, excluded from the ring later and you can't go and do them later. And so the ring collapses eventually into one spot, which is the first night. First big boss shows up, kill that boss.
Hang on. There's 2 phases. There's 2 phases per night. So I timed it out in the edited footage. So when the game first begins, you have 4.5 minutes before the circle begins to close, and at 7.5 minutes it's fully closed. And so that's when you're limited to a section of the map that you can still explore. You then have 3.5 minutes in that section before the second circle starts to close. And at 6.5 minutes, it's closed and you're fighting that boss for night 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then that process repeats. So you have 14 total minutes to explore before night 1, 14 total minutes to explore night 2, and then Night Lord boss.
And then the actual Night Lord. But yeah, you're exploring, the circle is slowly encroaching. And the thing is, the circle will start collapsing from different directions. So sometimes the core of where you're going to end up in is going to be in one corner of the map, other times in the middle of the map. So that's kind of like dynamic. So the circle doesn't always shrink in the same way, which means you're going to have access to different things during different runs. But eventually, circle shrinks enough that you do the first boss, then it expands, and you can go back out and explore the world again. Then it shrinks back down. You face the second night boss, and after that, you're going to jump into the heaven or whatever, and then you're going to face the first Night Lord. And that's kind of like the overall gameplay loop. Once you've beaten the Night Lord, or even if you don't beat the Night Lord, if you get defeated before you even get to the Night Lord, you're going to get some relics. But if you beat the Night Lord, you get better relics, and you get like a unique relic from the Night Lord that you've beaten, which is usually more powerful. And then after you do that, you're going to jump out and you're going to like configure the relics for your Night Fares, which is kind of like your in-between matches progression, which is traditional to roguelikes. So you set up these relics. You can have like up to 3 relics, and then there's different configurations for the relics that gives you a little bit of variation. Then after that, you jump back in, do it all over again, and then eventually you're going to unlock something called remembrances. Each of the characters has different remembrances, and those are going to be like quests that you're going to be doing in, what's it called? Nighthold, the place where we're at?
Well, Nighthold and Limgrave. Some of them are in Limgrave.
Yeah, some of them are in Limgrave. But you're going to be doing these quests that are going to be like, okay, talk to this NPC, maybe do a special event where you fight a creature or something like that, unlock this additional thing. But yeah, you're going to be doing these remembrance quests, and then eventually they're going to get a little bit harder to the point where you might need other players to do them. Like maybe some of these quests will actually be you have to defeat a specific Night Lord in order to finish your quest. And those reward you with character-specific relics that might change the way that your powers work. So the one that I'm very familiar with, because I played the Guardian the most, is the Guardian one, because you have like this whirlwind thing that you can do. There's a special one that you get from remembrances that extends the duration of your whirlwind. So stuff like that. Every character gets little things. And then you go back in and you use those remembrances and you become stronger, and you just keep repeating it. That's basically the gameplay loop. Anything you want to add to that?
I think that about covers it.
So
I think it's worth mentioning that you can do everything solo. It's just, it's going to be a skill check. It's going to be a skill check. I will say, I don't think all characters are created equal when it comes to solo play.
Oh, yes.
But we can.
Yeah, we'll talk about the characters.
About that when we get to the characters.
Yeah, I have a whole section for the characters. The thing about solo is actually something that I had in here as well. Did you complete any of them solo?
I got close, but I have not yet.
I think
well, part of it I was being stubborn because I played everyone else and I didn't have a Wilder win, and I was like, oh, I want my Wilder win. I'll just do that solo, and I had a couple close attempts, but I think if I'm pretty sure if I did Iron Eye or Raider, I could probably pull it off, or even Executor, and just go Sekiro mode.
Yeah. So
that's a launch thing for me now.
Yeah, the solo experience, I think, is because I know that I've seen a lot of people in my comment sections when I was talking about, oh, you can do solo, you can do 3. And I know that a lot of people were saying, oh, I'm going in and I'm doing it solo. And let me tell you, it is possible. It is possible to do it solo if you build your character right with like really good relics. And, you know, if you know exactly how to play it, if you know the roots, which is probably going to take. Go ahead.
So far, Dist and Lobos have been primarily doing solo. To be fair, they are also very prolific challenge runners. So
yeah,
that's the level. That's like the average skill level for someone who's going to be just clearing solo on a regular bit. Like Lobos was saying, he's had an easier time solo than with groups, and I'm like, oof.
I mean, if he's just going into matchmaking, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Some of the stuff, like, listen, don't take this personal, everybody that was in the review process, but you know. I've done the matchmaking thing quite a few times, and I've been going, guys, let's go over here. And then people just go off and do their own thing. Like, I don't know if people thought that they were playing regular Elden Ring, but this ain't regular Elden Ring.
Let me share my Executor experience solo.
Okay.
Or not, it's not solo, the team experience.
With matchmaking instead of like a pre-made group, yeah.
Yeah, so I matchmaked. For those that don't know, Executor is one of the last characters that was revealed. It's like a katana class, high dex scaling, high arcane scaling. You know, every weeb's fantasy. And so we're in the match, and the executor, that's my teammate, it's just some random dude, is running around with an Erdtree great hammer, the one that kind of looks like the watchdog staff a little bit. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing over there?
I think that's the stone troll hammer, whatever. It does rot damage.
It's just pure strength scaling.
Yeah, it's pure strength. Yeah.
Not a lick of dex. I'm like, it's weird. Don't see him ever use his unique form, which unlocks a parry anything stance. Basically just turns you into Sekiro. At one point, I find a Moonveil. I'm like, this is like his best in slot. I drop it, I ping it, wiggle my weapon in front of him. He comes over, he looks at the Moonveil, he picks it up, he equips it. I'm like, okay, good. Then he throws it back on the ground and takes out his hammer again.
He threw it in the ground in your face.
And I'm just looking at him like, what are you doing? Like, and he obviously not on comms, and there's no way to explain, like, my guy,
you need to use this
You're
weapon.
not doing damage with that hammer. Like, your class is Katana Man is part of your name. You need to use this. Like, I know you don't want to. If you had played my class, the Raider, you could use the Unga Bunga weapon. That is not who you are. And experiences like that. I mean, needless to say, we got to we still reached the boss, but we were like level 10 and we just got stomped. And I was like,
that's rough.
Fancy, I didn't see this coming. Like,
so I think that when you get, I think that what's going to happen is with the release of the game, you're going to put out a bunch of guides. People are going to get more informed. And I think it's going to become easier for people to go through. I think the most important thing about this, and people will see it in our videos because both you and me are going to be releasing like kills of pretty much every boss, which you guys are going to see like 2 POVs because basically Cowboy's going to be releasing his, I'm going to be releasing mine. And some of them will be pretty much the same run. Because like I said, I did most of my progress.
The difference is you're going to see me going turbo mode across the map.
And me trying to catch up.
And you're going to see Ruri getting yelled at. I'm coming. Just let me pick.
It's like old man Ruri got, because the thing is, I've always told people I don't like being rushed in like these types of games, but it's like it's because Elden Ring's progression and like Dark Souls progression, all that stuff lends itself to more like methodical exploration. This game is not that, so I'm just not used to that pace, and it's kind of like rough to adapt to it. I usually don't rush as much. So Cowboy, because he played twice as many hours as me, he's going like, okay, I've dropped this thing and I'm going over here. Like there was this one time you dropped the charm somewhere and like, okay, I dropped it over here, and then you were across the map and I was like, I can't. No, it
was the great shield. It was the great shield. You were like, well, the shield's not here. And I'm like, I dropped it right in front of the jump. You're like, what do you mean? It's not in front of the jump. I'm like, it's in front of the jump. Get in front of the jump. No, you're at the wrong jump. You're like, what do you mean with the wrong jump? I'm like, it's over here. I picked it up. I'll give it to you. They're in a circle. You're like, wow, what are you talking about? Just give me the shield.
No, that was not the one. There was something else. Because the thing that I was saying, I actually just gave up on it. And I was just like, no, I'm just going to run before I'm late again. I'm running again. But the shield one was funny because I went down to jump and you went down to jump too, and you're like, where's the shield? What? I dropped it here. I know it. And then you're like, no, this is the wrong one. And then we jumped again. And then the funny thing is I see the shield in front of me and you picked it up and you kept going. I was like, but I could have seen it. It's funny the lightning pace at which we were going. But
you have to though. That's
you
thing,
do,
man.
You absolutely do. Because the thing that I was saying is like literally I think the most important thing in this game is routes. Is like being able to come up with a route on the fly. That is literally the most important thing. So if you get Cowboy on your team, it's going to be easy going. So long as you follow his pings, you're just cruising the whole time. You're going to finish the game damn near level 15 every time. Because just, we're going here doing this, going here doing that. But like the point of it is solo experience, number one, is going to be very, very hard. Okay? It's doable. Absolutely. Maybe you're going to see better rates of success depending on the class that you take. Like I was trying to solo with Guardian and it's rough. I don't know. Maybe some people can do it just fine. I was struggling big time.
Guardian, Wilder, Executor, Iron Eye, and Raider, I think are solo special. Duchess, Revenant, and Recluse, I don't think are really capable solo.
Like I said, we'll talk more about those when we get to them. But like the another thing that I think kind of sucks is the lack of duos. Because if they scaled it for one player, I don't understand why they didn't scale it for 2. I think
Well,
that's going to be the
they
biggest
did
deal.
part of one of the interviews that came out, so they are considering adding in a duo mode.
I think that would be smart because there were a lot of times where I could have played because like I would have had you or Tragic on Discord and we could have played, but we wouldn't have had a third. That's the problem. Then we go in Discord, try to get a third, and then it's somebody that's still stuck at the very first boss.
Someone's still on Tricephalus. Just even did you see they did regular polls in their review Discord, like how many bosses have you killed, and even like up to yesterday, and the review embargo was like the next day, there was still 3 votes that were I'm stuck on Tricephalus, and I was like, oh, you poor,
that's rough,
poor baby.
Like I got at least 3 or 4 groups through Tricephalus after I was done with it because I was trying to get matches early in the morning EU time. There was almost nobody around, and I would see like a couple of people asking for help in Tricephalus. Okay, let's go, guys. I'll get you to Tricephalus. And sometimes it was even a struggle because people aren't used to you just telling them, we got to go here. And they're like, oh, no, I need to go do this. Like, no. We got to go here, and we got to go now. You don't have time to go over there and do whatever it is you're thinking about doing. Trust me, we got to go here, and we got to go now. And people are just not used to that pacing, right?
Even in the beta test, I was already like planning out routes and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I had people that were arguing in the comments, and they're like, no, you need to coordinate with your team. You can't steer this ship, Cowboy. You need to go where your team is going. And I'm like, motherfucker, they're sailing off into the abyss. Like, there is a route. I know this route.
I have a very explicit message for that. Well, not explicit, a very specific message to that person, which is you were wrong. 100%. 300%, you were wrong. Okay, I guarantee, I promise you. You separate from your team, and unless you're like Lobos or somebody of equal skill level, you're going to crush your whole goddamn team because you decided that it was a good idea. Like, let me tell you, sometimes we ended up wiping because I needed to level up, and I chose the wrong grace. Okay? I was like, I'm going to go to this grace over here. I just need 15 seconds to get to this grace and come back, and Cowboy and somebody else would have died, and it's like, oh crap, because like I wasn't there like tank or something like that. Like this happened. It happened a couple of times because you need 3 people. You were the
tank, and we were playing the squishy classes.
Yeah, so
we were just getting molested. Like, where is our tank? And you're like, I'm at the church. I'm like, what do you mean you're at the church?
I just needed to get
old aggro.
I just needed to get this one upgrade right here. But yeah, so solo experience is going to be rough. Currently no duos. They might add duos. And 3-player experience will get better with time as people get more experience, stuff like that. But I think that there are a lot of people right now that have played Elden Ring and Dark Souls and stuff like that, and they think they're going to jump in solo and just, cruise. No, I don't. Unless they vastly change the version of the game that we played. Unless they vastly change, which I don't think they're going to, and I don't think they should, which is more important.
One of the big things I've noticed solo is and this is just in general to the whole game, but even more important solo, is your current level. So you can level up to 15 in each run, and your level has such an impact on your efficacy in a run that even if you are like the best player in the world, you're level 7 and you're like, I'm going to take down this gargoyle.
Nope.
Even assuming you have the skill set to take down that gargoyle and dodge every hit, it's going to take you so long to kill it because you're not the appropriate level that run is already bunked.
And by the way,
you're going to spend 2.5-3 minutes trying to take that thing out.
I will one up what you said, and I say, even if by some miracle of magic you're able to teleport yourself to a special event that happens and get a legendary weapon instantly at level 1, because that special event also makes it so that the weapon doesn't have level requirements, and you are fighting that gargoyle with the legendary weapon at level 7, you're still going to get rocked, okay? It's that simple. You're still going to get completely rocked. But yeah, it is very challenging, and to be honest, I like the fact that they kind of incentivize you. No, this was made for multiplayer because, like I've said multiple times, I want a From Software game that is specifically made for multiplayer, specifically made for you to co-op. And I think one of the really cool things is, like, let's say From Software released another Elden Ring, right? Just like complete hypothetical. They released another Elden Ring tomorrow, right? You start playing it, I start playing it. Now, usually you have more time than me currently because I'm struggling with real life stuff and whatnot. So you would get ahead of me instantly. And I'd be like, hey, Cowboy, let's get together and play. And you're like, oh, man, it's going to be so much fun going to help you to kill Margit. Oh, man, so much fun. This is great.
I mean, I would have fun killing Margit. I just walk in.
I'm gonna break that some of this shit, man. That's just Ash of War. Don't mess him up. And you're like, what is that?
And then
I haven't even seen that. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking cool, isn't it? Spoiler warning.
So you're like you're leagues ahead in terms of like your progression and stuff like that. So even though it is fun, maybe for you to go in there and flex and stuff and whatnot, from an actual cooperative experience, it's not going to be that much fun for both parties involved because you've already done the content. And for me, I'm like, oh, you just came in here and killed this thing, and I did nothing. I didn't contribute at all. So this type of structure that they've created is perfect for people because, like, you can play 100 hours, and I can play 10 hours, and you can come back and help me, and you're still getting rewarded, and you're still, you know, you are caring in terms of, like, you know, calls and shit like that, and you know more about the items or not. But in terms of power level, we're pretty even out, right? And that, I think, is one of the more important things of this because it allows you to just get together with your friends that maybe play less than you, and it still makes them feel like, you know, you're still contributing enough to this fight. We're all contributing. We're all in this together. And I think that is an essence, one of the most important parts of it. It's a pick up and go game that you don't get a lot of nowadays when it comes to these types of RPGs. So I have a really strange question for you, because I know you play Fortnite and I don't. And so I wanted to ask you, pacing wise, just the pace, because we're not going to compare gameplay. This is not Fortnite, but Fortnite also has the
You're just talking about the pace. I mean, I've played plenty of battle royales with the circle and closing.
Yeah, with the circle and closing.
I don't like how it's done here at all.
You don't like how it's done here? So
No.
But my first question is it faster or slower than stuff like Fortnite? Because I think this is faster than Fortnite, like the pace at which you have to go.
It's well, so 14 minutes for it to close down to what would be the equivalent of a final circle is definitely faster than most battle royales. There are certain modes that are that quick, but I think the bigger problem is the circle is not gradual. And we've talked about this a bit, but like the idea is if you're caught in a circle for, you know, whether it's the first 5 seconds you're in it or you're in it for over 30 seconds, the damage you take is the same. And so the problem is, let's say here's our circle, and then suddenly the map's condensing down to here, and you're on the far side, and you're just booking it. You're hauling ass, running as fast as you can. Like we had that one game, we hopped up on the bird, and we were flying out. And even being on the bird, which is a direct flight path to get your ass out of here mode, we still could not move fast enough to outrun the circle. Now, if we had a timer, this wouldn't be as much of an issue because we know, hey, we only have 30 seconds till it gets in. We can't kill this boss in 30 seconds. Let's move so we'll be safe. But the fact that like, you're like, all right, we're going to kill the boss. And then the circle starts closing. Boss is 20% HP. You're like, we need these levels. Kill the boss, get the reward. We'll go. And then it's like, actually, you won't. You can't outrun the circle. You're dead. And this was a crater, by the way. We were down fighting the Magmorm and getting our upgrades. We got our upgrades. We got our legendary weapons. And then we died on the bird flying out of the circle because the circle outpaced us since we were on the far end. And so even though we were trying our damnedest to just get away, like we jumped on the bird as the circle was getting to it, we died on the bird, lost the level, lost the extra runes we had, and then we had to go into the final boss at like 11 instead of 13.
Which is, it's such a massive difference. I think that people who've
that
only...
feels bad.
I think people who've only
bad.
played Elden Ring, they hear like these levels of like, oh, I mean, come on, 11, 13, who cares? It's huge.
One level is the equivalent of like 10 levels in Elden Ring, I'd say.
I mean, something like that for sure.
Because at 15, you'd be 150. That's roughly like end of Elden Ring experience. Like I think my walkthrough doing everything, I was like 160, 170 at the end of 100%.
Yeah.
I'd say about 10 levels for everyone. And it's just, you know, like I feel I really, and I hope they change this, I think the circle should be gradual. I think the first 15 seconds you're in it, it hurts, but it's like 1 health per second. And then 15 to 30 seconds, it gets up to 20 health per second. and then past 30 seconds, it's doing like 50 or 100 health per second. And so it's like, oh, the circle's hitting, go, get the hell out, and
Okay,
you're
so
running.
for how long you're in the circle, yeah, I get it. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, the
I do
longer you're
agree
in
with
it,
that.
the more it's hurting you.
I had a situation where I was, and this was like the worst possible case scenario, because I'm coming in, and this is the second night boss, and I was like, oh crap, I'm low on potions. I only had like 3 potions or something. I need to go run and catch this Grace, and I'm running. And just as I'm about to get to the Grace, like I'm in the circle, like I'm burning down, I'm running to get to this Grace to recover my potions and maybe get a level up. And just as I'm getting there, the Grace, like, poof, light goes off. I was like, no. So there's no potions, there's no level up, and now you have to run back and you're dying. So I made it back, and I had like 1 potion left at like 30% HP. I was like, oh, I'm in danger. Night 2 boss. This is not going to be a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of rough dealing with it. But I do agree. I think a gradual circle would be better, so that if you want to surf the circle for a little bit to get some bonuses, I think that does make sense. And right now,
but not even surfing. I think it's just it's a case of like escaping, because if the circle's closing and you're actively running and you're on the far side, it might take 30 seconds, it might take 20, but like if you're trying to get out of the circle, I feel like dying when you are actively trying to outrun the circle doesn't feel good. But at the same time, we don't want people to just be like, circle's coming in, I don't care, I'm killing this ruins boss and this castle boss.
yeah,
Which is why I think gradual works, because like, hey, if you're in the circle for more than 30 seconds at that point, have it do 100 health per second. I don't care, like it should kill you. Get out of the fucking circle.
see that's my
But
fault.
it shouldn't butt fuck you, because it's closing in and you were in there for an extra 15 seconds and
Listen,
now you're screwed.
It's my fault, because I remember in the network test there was this one game where for some reason I was able to get a bunch of like regen power-ups or weapons that had regen on them, and the circle was doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's
So
such a
I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go exploring, boys. Just like going through the rain. I was so happy, and nothing. It didn't even tick my health down at all in the network test.
That's wild.
So they were like, no, you can't do that. No, we saw what Rurikhan was doing. That ain't happening in the final game. You're dying.
I don't think I've ever even seen that many HP up items in all the runs I've done now. They're a lot more rare.
Yeah, they're way more rare. But not only
And
that,
it's usually like 1 HP per second.
yeah,
It's not
they're a
like
lot
10.
they're a lot less powerful as well. And the circle itself just deals way more damage than it did in the network test as well, which you know. But I think it also creates a lot of clutch moments when you're able to pull through. Like if you're able to get a boss down in the circle and then still like regenerate and
Still escape. Yeah.
and still escape. Like
No,
those,
it does. It's and I like those moments where it's like we kill this guy now. He drops a grace, we level, and we book it. Like
Yeah.
moments like that, they feel phenomenal. But then on the tail end of that, it's like we're trying to escape the hidden city, and you're sitting there with the shit ass jump, the worst fucking mechanic
don't
in the
get
game.
into that. Don't get into that just yet. I have a whole section just for that. We'll get into it.
Anyway, I'm just jumping against the wall, and the circle is like, here I am, and I'm like, let me out, please. Let me out, please.
I want to leave
Let
now.
me out! Let me out, please! Fuck! Just screaming, because mechanically the game is failing me in that moment, and then I'm dying to the circle because of the game's fault, because of latency and the lack of proper testing that was done ahead of time.
Hey,
That gets me fucking heated.
I will talk more about the double jump thing, but for now, yeah. So the biggest thing, so the circle itself is faster, but what I was talking about wasn't even just the pacing of the circle. I was talking about the pacing of the overall gameplay itself. Like when you are playing these other battle royales, right? Like I still feel like the breakneck pacing at which you have to move from location to location to be just like way faster from the gameplay that I've seen of actual battle royales. Would you say that's accurate?
No, yeah. I don't think any outside of like a specific game mode that's like
Specific
supposed,
game modes
like,
that
meant
they'll
to
have,
be
yeah.
like a turbo mode or something. No,
Yeah.
none of the other battle royales are this rapid.
Yeah. So I was bringing that up, guys, because just for you to understand the level of pacing that we are talking about here. It's a very fast-paced game. It is not the stuff that you are used to in Elden Ring, where you can go, oh, let me see if I like this particular item. Let me go look for this treasure. I'm gonna go on an adventure. It's like, no, the moment you step out of that hawk and you land, it's go time. You have to find, the camps that you want to go do, which usually each camp is actually identified by the type of reward that it will give you. And they will tell you the boss that you are facing before you even face that boss. They'll tell you this boss is weak to holy. So when you jump into the thing, you already know, okay, I'm looking for holy camps because those are going to give you holy based rewards. And you want to get those because that's the highest chance of you getting like a holy weapon to be able to deal more damage to the boss that you're fighting against. But yeah, pace super fast. So I figured that we would go ahead and talk about the night fares right now. So first things first, what's your favorite night fare? This one's gonna be rough, I know, because you like a lot of them.
I do.
And by the way, for context, guys, because I only played 30 hours. I've only played 2 night fares during the review period.
Let's before we do this, let's just do quick intro. So you have Wilder.
I'll give you the names because I have them all here in order. So you can start with Wilder because that's the first one. Yeah.
Wilder is your all rounder. He's kind of a quality build. Respectable strength and dex scaling, decent HP and stamina. Good for any situation.
He's John Nightreign.
Yeah, John Nightreign. You have Duchess, which is like a spell sword.
No, Guardian. Guardian comes afterwards. You have to go in order.
We'll go down your list. All right, you name them and I'll explain. Guardian is the tank. Highest scaling is health. Respectable strength scaling. Respectable stamina scaling. He's meant to be like a front line for the party and hold aggro.
Iron Eye.
Iron Eye is your range champion. He has high dex scaling. He can get into melee, but he is best at range. He's able to mark targets, which can cause additional damage and can then basically explode, similar to like how bleed or frostbite proc off. Very good AoE clear, very, very safe with his iframes. Nightreign is the GOAT in any comp.
He is. Duchess.
High skill cap character, has higher intelligence scaling than Dex, which a lot of people don't really lean into. But Duchess is one of the strongest support type characters in that her restage ability takes any damage that was done in like the last couple seconds and then duplicates 50% of it. So if you line this up where it's like an ulti and a bleed proc and a frostbite proc all go off, and then she restages, and your team did 3,000 on her own, she just poops out an additional 1,500, which is incredibly impactful, assuming you use it correctly. But she's high evasion, very swift, and can make some crazy clutch fast kill moments.
Tragic was a beast playing Duchess when he was playing
Tragic
with us.
Tragic is very good as Duchess,
Yeah, he was a beast. So next up is Raider.
Raider is Unga Bunga personified. Whether you are charge attacking or using 2 colossal weapons, he is a stagger god. His ability allows him to just face tank and headbutt somebody and knock him the fuck out. I have broken Night Lords out of their here comes my special move stance with it. Raider is good in any comp. Yeah, I've done runs with 2 Raiders and it's disgusting. It's just like stagger. It's a gangbang in Nightreign when there's 2 Raiders.
Raider is also the class that Cowboy makes me play because he doesn't want me to play Guardian. He goes like, no, stop playing Guardian. Just pick up Raider. You can Unga Bunga.
But then you play Raider and you're like, oh my god, look at my stagger. And I'm like, yeah, welcome to the club.
Not to mention that, like, usually with Guardian, I'd be like on top of you trying to like, oh, I'm rezzing. I'm almost with Raider. I was like, bonk, you're up. Bonk, you're up every time. But so after that
Raider's really good.
Is Revenant, which is John Sekiro. No, that's Executor. I always get those two confused. Sorry, Revenant.
So Revenant is your faith-based character, high faith scaling, a little bit of int scaling. She has 3 summons, a page, which are like the crossbow rapier enemies that always kill you with the rapid fire exploding bolts. She has a pumpkin head, and then she has a large skeleton, the ones that would nuke you up in the mountaintop of the giant's secondary area. More of a support type class because she scales so heavily with faith. She doesn't have any FP regen, so she is item reliant for that, but she can do a lot of very strong faith casting. She can serve as kind of like a pseudo tank through her summons when they're used correctly. You can also just throw up a summon to have it res somebody. So very strong character, kind of falls more into the utility bucket, and there's a decently high skill ceiling to her, but she's also very item dependent because she doesn't really have the stats to support like getting in the fray and just fighting.
Does do the summons cost mana? Because I haven't played this character.
Nope. They each have their own independent cooldown, and when their
Okay.
life is depleted, you got to wait for it to come back. So you
Okay.
kind of like cycle through them as needed to make sure they don't die.
So the mana is just whenever you want to cast spells and use weapon abilities and stuff like that. Okay.
But your S faith, so like that's your damage source.
I've seen you. I think I've seen you use bow on her a couple of times, or am I wrong? No, I've seen you use a shield.
Yeah, I'd like because there's a lot of like FP unblock type stuff.
Okay.
So
that's
shield
why I
is
bought
a
the
safe
shield.
offhand, or a bow just because I don't want to get in melee range, and if I can't cast
So-
spells, I might as well do some damage from the back line.
So this next one is going to be very hard to play with randoms. So you already know which character I'm talking about.
Recluse. Recluse is an invoker in Elden Ring. She is cracked. I absolutely love her playstyle. The idea is you weave in elemental essences between holy magic, fire, and lightning, and then pull them together in combinations for spells. You can pull those essences off enemies or teammates. So if like we're fighting a tree sentinel and Ruri gets hit by an ability, I can yank holy essence off of him. The problem is that essences are immediately overwritten. So if you're like, okay, I need to get fire, holy, and lightning, and your teammates got fire weapons, you're like, cool, fire's covered. And you're like, here goes the lightning bolt. And then you go to yank the lightning off, and they've already been smacked with fire 7 different times. And then you're like, I guess we're doing triple fire today. Very, very powerful character. When used correctly, she can be devastating. She also has crazy utility. She can negate all FP costs. She can heal the team in full. She can remove statuses.
That's
She
the
makes
one.
you,
The status removal for whenever we're fighting like Wormface dude, like that is crazy because sometimes you get to face off against like bosses that do death. And so Cowboy just comes in, yep, we're all death immune now. Don't even worry about it. No, it's so much chiller now. It's so much nice.
she's crazy good, but
And she heals a ton as well. She heals like the whole team.
While doing damage.
Yeah, while doing
spewing
damage.
flames. But she requires like really high levels of coordination, and honestly, I think she might need. We'll talk about more later, but a very high coordination, extremely high skill cap.
Yeah, and then finally, Executor, and this one is John Sekiro.
Yeah, literally, his unique ability unlocks a sword. I parried Margit solo in a 3-player game because he spawned on me while I was trying to do my Executor quest, and I said, "Let's go, bitch!" And I parried him for like 3 minutes until the team showed up. Very high skill cap character, but the more you learn him, like Sekiro parrying Crucible Knights and just clowning on them is one of the most satisfying things I've done so far in Nightreign.
Okay, so now comes the hardest question. I'll tell you mine first. You already know.
I wonder what it is.
Birdman's the best. Birdman's the best. I like Guardian. Guardian's amazing, but Guardian unfortunately feels a little bit weak. Or maybe I just don't know how to play him right. I don't know. Might also be skill issue, but I feel like he feels significantly weaker than Raider at doing pretty much almost the same role. Like, we've even had a situation where we're not going to get into specifics, but let's just say there's this boss we're fighting, and we need one big AoE hit to just like destroy everything. And we're talking while we're doing this boss, and we're like, okay, Cowboy's like, you save your ult so that we get that when we need this big AoE. So, it's who was it? Shiu, I think. It's Shiu's turn to get the big AoE. He got the AoE. And then Cowboy's like, now it's my turn. I get the AoE. And Cowboy's like, now it's your turn. And I land that AoE dead center where it needed to be. And it does nothing. It just does literally nothing. And we're all just like, so wait, Guardian's the only one who can't do a big AoE on this boss and break him? And I'm just like,
which is weird because it hurts enemies when you do it in the world.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's because they're elevated, the things we have to break. And I have a feeling that instead of being a spherical AoE, I think yours is just a ground-based AoE.
It's just a ground. It might just be a ground-based AoE rather than spherical. Because like Raider can bust it up with its big rock and stuff. But yeah. So the thing about Guardian is that obviously I like it because it's the shield class, and he has a unique shielding stance that is stronger at blocking than literally anything that exists, save maybe fingerprint shield. Like, it's fingerprint shield levels of blocking, except with almost any shield in the game. And it feels really good to pull that stuff off. But the problem is, a lot of these bosses, you blocking them doesn't really matter. It's not like you're getting anything done. And
Because we're like doing backflips around you as you're trying to block.
No, but
where are you going?
And the thing is also that there are relics that will say, "Oh, draws aggro when you're guarding." And I was testing those last night, and it's like, doesn't seem to do much. I seem to get more aggro by being Raider and just beating them with a hammer to the face. Yeah. That seems to definitely draw their attention a whole lot more than holding up my shield going, "Hey, come fight me, come fight me." So those are kind of like things where I feel Guardian is lacking a little bit. But like the Guardian ult makes everybody invulnerable, which is really, really powerful. And his ability is very useful early on for CC and small groups and stuff like that. But, later down the line when you're fighting bosses, doing the whirlwind doesn't do much. I think that one of the changes they should do for Guardian, which I almost want to say that it was like this in the network test, and they might have changed it, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. The whirlwind should draw aggro. Like, do whirlwind, you get aggro. I think they should do that.
I don't even think it should be whirlwind. I think when you enter blocking stance, it should do like a taunt type effect.
I mean, yeah, but
enter because that's your gimmick. All right, I'm blocked up.
I would be happy if just the whirlwind would get it. It gets aggro for like 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, either way, I think we can agree it needs to have aggro pull built into its base kit to really perform its role effectively.
And the reason for that, guys, is that so his scaling, Guardian scaling, strength scaling is B, and Raider's strength scaling is S. So if the Raider can support almost as well as Guardian and at the same time deal way more damage, and the ultimate of Raider can act also as a defensive thing because like you can hide behind the Raider rock, and on top of it, it creates an AoE aura that increases everybody's damage. It's just like, hey, guess what's the best way of not taking damage? Killing the boss. You kill the boss, you don't take any more damage. So yeah, right now I feel like Raider does almost everything Guardian does better. But, again, like I said, could be skill issue. This is still like just, a very limited pool of players and all of that stuff. I'm sure that maybe someone will find some hidden tech for Guardian or whatever, and it might be fine. But that's just like my impression. But at the same time, still my favorite character. Absolutely. Love Guardian. But Raider, also very, very good. Now, you.
I would say favorite would probably just be Raider. Just because it's I know, I'm a strength guy. It makes sense.
Zug.
Yeah, Zug. Will you smash, you stugger now. But I will say I also really like Recluse as well as Executor. But Executor I think is amazing, but he shines best when I can get aggro and do the Sekiro 1v1s, which unfortunately doesn't happen a lot in 3-player play. I think solo he might be insane. And then Recluse, I love the flavor of Recluse and juggling through the various spells, but I think she needs a fundamental rework. Like I think when spells, like when I don't know, I should be able to like hold the button and select from like the 3 most recent elemental applications or something.
Yeah, on a
because
boss.
when we have situations where I'm like, yo, y'all keep putting fire on it, like I need holy for like 1 second. Like that's never going to be viable unless you're communicating with teammates. So with randoms, it's out.
There were times where you're like, I need lightning, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna swap to the lightning bow. Here you go. Here, you got it. Okay, now let me swap back to my 2-handed hammers of death.
And it's just because the overwrite, like, and especially because like I had lightning, like I would throw a lightning spear, and then it would just immediately get overwritten by fire, and I'd throw another lightning spear, and immediately get overwritten by fire, and I'm like, I'm not getting up today. And like that doesn't feel good when you're trying to engage with the mechanics of your class and you just simply can't because the elements you want are being overwritten so fast. So I think there has to be, I don't know if the case is like when a new element is applied, it stays up for 5 seconds or 3 seconds before it can be overwritten. I think that would solve it. Is that way it's like, okay, y'all already got fire on the boss, it stays fire until a new one comes up, and then that one is stuck on the boss for 3 seconds, because that way I could throw out my lightning, and then do my cast to yank it, and then a new one comes up. But right now it's like I've seen it go like lightning, fire, 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 lightning, fire, 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 magic, lightning, fire, 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 and I'm like, can I get one essence, please? Just one that's not fire. Because and the thing is, the reason this is problematic. So you can do 3 fire spells and 3 magic spells and 3 lightning spells, etc. But your strongest arts with the recluse are your tri-arts. Like if I have ice, holy, and lightning, I encase myself in a damage immune ice block, do a whirlwind.
You literally
frostbite on the
become
target.
Shiva from Final Fantasy.
If I have fire holy and magic, I do that crazy healing breath that restores health and FP for the entire party while damaging stuff, which is huge. If I have lightning, fire, and holy, I can drop out that super lightning stake that does a buttload of stagger damage that was just chunking bosses. And then if I have magic, fire, and lightning, I get that gravity orb AoE that's super strong for just clearing out trash and chunking bosses. But being able to do that consistently, if you can't, the class fantasy starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
And so I think she needs some kind of fundamental rework in terms of how those stay on the target so you can do that.
It might just be that the Recluse is one of those classes that's just made for pre-mades. And maybe that's their intention. It's like, listen, you guys got to figure it out. Like, you got to delegate. You're going to have a holy weapon. You're going to have a lightning damage weapon so that I can do this spell. It almost feels like that.
But that feels so bad. Like, yeah,
because you're basically forcing. Yeah, you're basically forcing people, but it in a way it's almost the same thing.
And not only that, but like for a boss, like the other day we were fighting a boss that was weak to fire. All of us were trying to bring along fire weapons, which makes sense. But like, even though we're all bringing along fire weapons, if I can just sneak in 1 pinch of magic and 1 pinch of lightning, I'm going to get a way more devastating spell. But there's no way for me to do that. And I think, honestly, the 5-second rule would probably be the easiest, because the essence on a target doesn't matter to anyone but the Recluse. Yeah. So if y'all are putting fire and then suddenly I hit it with lightning, if that lightning just stays locked for 3 to 5 seconds so that I can pull that off before it gets overwritten, that would solve all the problems. And I'm really that does seem like something they might update to Recluse Kit when a new elemental affinity is applied. It will be locked to that elemental affinity for a short duration before it can be overwritten immediately. I think that's something that they just didn't overlook.
Do you think you'd need 5 seconds, or maybe you would want 10 so that you still have some room
No, not
to
even.
dodge?
You could possibly do 3.
Okay.
Like, because as soon as what I was doing, the split second I throw that lightning bolt, I'm doing the animation to rip the elemental essence out. It's just there's so much damage coming in from the melee people that it's getting overwritten. Like, I could show you footage. It's like magic fire. Like, it's a split second it's up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it. Like, I cannot grab it in half a second. I need just a pinch, please. So even 3 seconds would be plenty to pull it off.
Yeah.
And that's a change I really hope they make.
Yeah, that could actually fix it. The whole thing of it just staying there for 3 to 5 seconds, that could just fix everything, and you don't even need to change like the controls or anything on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna send this idea to the PR people now that we're talking.
Yeah, there you go. and then the director comes along and just tells you, no, actually, I like it fine the way that it is. I think it's good that it's challenging. Just kind of like the same thing that I was like, guys, listen, Insect Glaive kind of not working out right now. Here's a really easy fix to make it all work. It's like, no, actually, I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that pans out. Every one of these night fairs that we just talked about will have like one passive skill, which we didn't get into too many details. They'll have one skill that usually regenerates reasonably fast. You're going to be casting that all the time. And an ultimate, which is called an art, which regenerates a little bit slower, but will also have a more significant power up when you cast that one. Which one of these do you think synergize well together? I've been thinking about this, and just like off of Guardian, one of the things that instantly comes to mind is like Guardian with Wilder, so that Wilder can go in and do his bomb fairly safely with the ult. Like, that would be one that I would bring up. Raider with Iron Eye. So I mean, but Raider is almost like Raider with anyone, because you pull off your ult, everybody's dealing more damage. Everybody can use the stone for LOS. If people want, they can climb the stone, just be on the top. But like Iron Eye benefits a lot, I feel like, because you can just sit there, charge arrows, shoot, do all of that stuff. So I think Raider with Iron Eye. But other than that, I don't know which other ones, because I didn't play all of the other classes. If you have any obvious ones that come to mind.
I like to think of all the characters more in buckets than specific combos, but I think like each team should have someone that's good at like a front line. So either your Guardian, your Raider, or your Executor. I think each team should have a just straight up damage option. So like your Wild or your Iron Eye. And then I think each team should have some type of more utility type character. So Revenant, Recluse, or Duchess. That's not like a golden rule, but I find that those comps tend to work really well. But like if you had a team that was, you know, Duchess, Recluse, and Revenant, like, outside of your skeleton, you don't really have anyone that's going to be doing the tank. You don't have any like huge on-demand damage.
Yeah. It's gonna be rough if you don't have like good variety of roles and stuff like that. Now, it is possible to triple up, and I think that one of the triple ups that would work fantastic is probably like 3 Raiders. Can you imagine 3 Raiders just going at it?
Yeah.
You've probably done it.
Pure unga bunga. It works.
Yeah, but like just having 3
Boss don't move.
Just having 3 squishies will be rough. I think that 3 Iron Eyes could probably work really well, because one of the things that I've seen happen is sometimes the bosses will get confused and they will start like running back and forth between one target and the other. And if you have just like 3 Iron Eyes pelting a dude, the boss might get a little bit, oh, I don't know which side to turn. Then he turns to one and the other one ults or something like that. You can kind of like get that off. But I think that, and again, this will probably come back to bite me in the ass, but I think trying to do like 3 Recluses, you're gonna struggle. 3 Revenants could potentially work. But like trying to mix and match all of the squishy classes is going to be rough without having at least one kind of like frontliner to just bully a little bit.
I think 3 Duchess and 3 Recluse probably wouldn't be viable. I think the other classes and tri-configs would probably work.
Yeah.
Because like Recluse, you really like, you need someone distracting while you're getting these essences up.
While you're getting essences.
And you know, Duchess excels. I mean, I don't know, if you had 3 Duchess and they all had bleed, and you like bleed, and then you all rewound, that could be devastating. But I think you more.
But how are you going to block a bleed 3 times?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're not
actually.
You're not going to do that. You might do like bleed frost.
Bleed.
Yeah. No, not
yeah,
each.
But bleed frost and then a triple. I wonder, do you think the restage would stack? Like I restage, or how would that work? Like I restage and it's worth 50, and then the next restage is worth 25, and then the next it's worth 12.5.
I have no
idea. Would you all restage? That'd be kind of funny. You like hit a big hit, and then you're like, sounds like some fucking anime shit. Restage all, and there's it's just like just massive chunks fly off.
I think a funny one would be like a Wilder and 2 Duchesses, and he goes in with his big boom. Boom, and then restage. That probably could do some.
Some
crazy.
That'll be
stuff.
Interesting. I'm sure in like the month to come, we're gonna see just insane speedrun strats like that.
Oh yeah,
people
absolutely.
come up with these ideas that just synergize shit to wild levels.
Which I was actually thinking about it, because I was thinking, should I do the upload thing of the runs that we did, like our first runs? And I was like, actually, those are probably going to become like a time capsule of like, oh, look at how they did it back in the old days. Because now it's just like people all of a sudden jumping to the bottom of the friggin' volcano before in night 1, just like rushing through everything, jumping down there, picking up a legendary weapon, dying, not even going back to like just strats like that. But yeah, it's gonna be.
Well,
it's gonna be crazy.
I don't know if we'll see that, only because all the world events, with the exception of the Rot one, you have to kill the boss.
You have to kill the boss. Okay, then that might.
Yeah, you
not
can't,
work.
because I tried that. I was like, I'm getting my weapon, and then Magmworm showed up, and he was like, "No, you're not." And I was like, "Oh, it's like the altar is locked." I'm like, "No, I need to leave."
No, you don't get to do that. Okay.
Yeah. No. Well, you could. So you could do mountaintop. You could rush and get the buff, and then rot. You could rush and get the buff.
Yeah,
But
but
those
let's
are-
not
the
get into
mountaintop
specifics of
bosses-
the let's not get into the specifics of the events. Like you're already going too
fair,
far
fair.
ahead. So it's like let's let people figure those out for themselves. But another thing that I would want to bring up is how do you feel about the combat in general, like when compared to regular Elden Ring combat? Because it does feel somewhat different.
I think it feels good. I think the specials feel good. I think the lock on for rezzing is fucky.
Oh yes,
But otherwise, I think lock on is good. Like enemy lock on, I haven't had issues with. But I've noticed trying to like get reses off. I'm like, please hit him with your fucking weapon. Please stop missing.
I have
Why?
a whole
Why are
section
you?
just for that.
Yeah, make just a block that not even a character model. It's just a big square, and if you hit in that square, you're getting them up.
Yeah. But because the thing is the combat I feel is much more fast paced, much more risky. You're meant to like because in Elden Ring's kind of like a dance, right? You're going through, you're dancing with the boss. And I'm trying to not get hit that often. This game is like doesn't matter if I get hit, I don't care. As long as I don't die. Can I get hit, not die, and still hit you? It's a trading game. You're trading so much more often than you're like, oh no, I gotta get this down perfect, gotta do no hits. Like, no. I'm getting hit and you're getting hit. And the only thing that matters is who's hitting harder, it feels like. It's more of a battle of attrition. Trying to
Well, especially like because all the abilities have like built-in iframes.
yeah.
A lot of them do at least. And so like knowing like here comes an ultimate. No, here comes my ultimate. Like, here comes my stake. You think you're gonna do your big lightning? Get staggered, and you're just like knocking them out. Like there's been times where it's like gargoyles trying to hit me and I'm Raider and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
Here comes the Pokeball.
Oh my god.
Get in the ball.
The
Get in the
Pokeball
ball.
is so much fun. The reason we call it a Pokeball is the rock from Raiders. Sometimes bosses get stuck on it. They don't know. It's like, oh, I'm stuck. Like, I've gotten
feel
stuck
like
in my own Pokeball sometimes. And it's funny
I
because
feel like
you know-
they patched it recently though. I noticed
Yeah,
bosses start popping out more.
yeah, we haven't really seen one get stuck. At least this weekend, we haven't seen one get stuck.
Yeah.
The funny thing is also been like when you're fighting in the lower portion of the castle, and it's like the ceiling is much lower in those areas. So
Yeah.
you do the ult, and sometimes you see the boss like go up, get crushed, and come back down because the rock disintegrates. He was like, "Oh, that was weird," but it's so funny. It's just like seeing yourself go up and then come back down. I've landed inside the rock a couple of times, but I was able to get out as well. But that's just friggin' hilarious.
The worst is when it goes up and then that's where the boss loot spawns and you're just like, turn off your Pokeball. I need to get that reward. We're wasting time. Turn it off. You're like, I can't. Ah! My loot.
That happens so many
Up and
times 'cause
down.
we're trying to rush through and pick up the rewards and the power ups and stuff, and then we can't because the rock is there. It is frustrating.
It's just you will wait 30 seconds. You're just like
So another
ugh.
important thing to bring up, for most of you guys out there, if you're not used to using bows or having at least a ranged option, both of us would heavily recommend, just take a bow with you. Just get a bow.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah,
but
not all the times, but you might want to just grab a bow every now and then, even if you don't. You're like, oh, but I'm playing Raider. Okay, get yourself like a great bow. It scales with strength.
Bro,
It's fine.
Raider, we had a match where we found a Radahn's great bow and we gave it to Raider, and it was doing more damage than any of his two-handers. Because the shot, it does, like, they changed it up. It's or no.
A lot of the things are different.
Rain of Arrows is still there, but like his heavy shot with the bow or something was like the shot Radahn does when you're trying to chase him down on the battlefield, where it's just like, and it's like 12 arrows that come out at once. And he's like, holy shit, look at this damage. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I want that. How do I
Yeah.
do that?
So,
Crazy.
but yeah, you guys should consider a ranged option because some of these bosses, if you're just playing melee, they're not going to play nice. They're like, oh, you're playing melee? Well, that sucks to be you, brother.
Yeah, good luck catching me, idiot. Yeah.
Guess you're not playing today. Your whole thing is, it's like Dark Eater Midir in Dark Souls 3, okay? You're going to spend the whole time chasing after me. Good luck. Have fun. And yeah, you're not going to be able to do much. Some of the bosses do feel like that. So having like a ranged option might help. Also,
Well, I will say when it comes to bosses, you mentioned earlier that like when you're queuing up for a boss, like for example, when you're queuing up to do a Tricephalos run, it shows
yeah,
a little holy icon next to him, and whether you have that weakness or not makes a massive difference in your boss experience.
yeah,
'Cause I've seen Tricephalos jump all over and bully people, and then I had a run where I was Revenant, and I had Discus of Light, and bro is just perpetually locked down with Holy, and it makes him so much easier to kill. So like boss weaknesses are they're not even like recommendations. They might as well be requirements. You have
yeah.
the difference between no boss weakness and having the boss weakness is like the other day we went in with the weakness against Equilibrius, and the fight, like I had 4 flasks left when he was dead. He was we just bullied the shit out of him. And that was like, there was a point where I was like, man, this is a really hard boss. And now I'm like, sit down now. I will not say it again. Like talking to a toddler that's misbehaving, like, you shit down right now. So help me God when we get home. No, I'm sorry.
Oh man. But yeah, those are some of the recommendations. Now, one of the things that I would like to eventually see changed is I would like the option to change the starting weapon. Now, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, give me a legendary weapon at the start, but like give us a different basic starting weapon. Because, for instance, I'm not the biggest fan of the halberd that Guardian starts with. I'm not the biggest fan of its moveset, and I'm like, can I just get like a straight sword with my shield? Just give me a straight sword for the start, and I just go do my own thing. You do get some relics that change stuff, so like you can get chilled on your weapon in the beginning if you want to, later down the line after you complete some bosses and stuff, or you can get poison in your weapon.
If you had just like 3 options. Like Raider starting, for example, you can start with a great sword, you can start with fist weapons, or you can start with like a curved sword. And they can still be great quality, but just some options where you're like, I'm fine with the weapon. I don't like this moveset that much.
Yeah. Yeah, because like especially for me that I'm playing both Guardian and Raider, and I don't like either of the starting weapons for these 2 classes. So I'm like usually
I like Raiders.
I mean, it's all right, but it's like unless you have 2 of them and I can just like unga bunga jump attack, then I'm happy. But if it's just the one, I'm like, it's just one bunga. I don't have the unga. I need the unga to go with the bunga. Otherwise, just bunga bunga doesn't work. You need the unga bunga. So it's like if I have 2 of them, I'm happy. If I just have the one, I'm like, oh, I'd be happier with a different one. But I think that would be a massive like quality of life change, and even just for variation's sake, because you're not having that same beginning guardian experience every time. Because like, no, I have a different weapon this time, so things will work out a little bit differently. But it does feel like even when you start reading some of the specific relics, they're very much like, we want this class to use this weapon. Now you can still use other weapons. Like we've had success with, there was that one run we did where I was like, hey, look, Cowboy, this is so much better than using a halberd. I'm like running around with Guardian with the Colossal Crusher. It's like, bam, look at this thing go. It's so good. Look at the bosses getting staggered all over the place. This is really fun. But, then you look at the relics and it's like, you can tell that they're like, oh, does this if you're using a halberd. When you charge the halberd, does this. And it's like, yeah, I get it, but I want to use something else.
Who have you played as so far? Just Guardian and Raider?
In the review version, yes. In the network test, I also played a little bit of Wilder, so I know how Wilder works.
So you didn't, in this 30, you never once was like, let me try this guy.
No. As a matter of fact, as you know, some of the times I play Raider is like, well, Cowboy's getting upset that I'm playing Guardian. Guess I'll play Raider.
I feel Raider is just, I just think he gets,
Raider's a beast.
It's just better.
He is. No, absolutely. I agree. And the thing is, I agree with you, but I'm also willing to accept it might be skill issue for me. Maybe I don't know how to play Guardian right. It might be the case.
I haven't seen any like crazy Guardians, to be fair.
Tragic was saying that he saw a couple.
Tragic was saying he saw one that was like cracked
Guardian. Yeah, he was doing all the things, but it's like again, the thing for me is he says this Guardian was just like constantly aggroing bosses. And I'm like, how? I have the gems.
What was the trick?
Yeah, exactly. Because I have the relics. I've tried them, and it almost seems like it doesn't work. It seems like I'll get more aggro just like bonking them with raiders. So it's like I don't get it.
We had one match where there was like a Guardian and an Iron Eye, and I'm Recluse, and I'm sitting in the back, and the boss was like, "Sup, bitch," and I'm like, "Why are you looking at me? Like, I'm not even. I'm just waiting for magic to show up on the boss. Leave me alone." And I'm just like scooting with my little wispy dodge over and over, and I'm like, why is this thing? It was like 30 seconds. I wasn't even hurting it, and the boss is just dead focused on me, like, nah, I don't like you. I'm like, is this like a race thing? Like, what the fuck's going on here? Leave me alone.
Oh man, yeah, it's rough. I don't know what's going on with that, but maybe we'll see some changes, or maybe some people will figure out what is going on with that.
The meta.
Now, let's get to some pain points before we talk about some other cool things like replayability and some of the boss fights and whatnot.
Pain points, all right.
So
goddamn jump.
okay. Just let it all out about the double jumping. Just let it all out.
So listen, the jump has like the same input buffer as base Elden Ring, but the problem is that the double jump doesn't always come out right. So like if this is a wall, your character will be like, instead of being like hop hop, they'll go and there's certain walls which are clearly climbable because you're supposed to be able to grab the ledge and clamber up, that you'll spend 30 seconds just jumping against a wall and screaming internally that your character cannot get up. So the only thing I can assume is that when they did internal testing, they did not account for latency. Because I haven't met a single fucking person in all the matches that have been like, I love the jump. It's very fluid and always works. Everyone's like, oh yeah, the jump is cheeks.
I never said the jump is cheeks. I don't necessarily agree. I think it fails sometimes. I don't fail it nearly as much as you do. As a matter of fact, it was hilarious because this one time, because like we said, you're always running ahead. You're always ahead of me. And there was one time we were doing this event up in Ice Mountain, which I'm not going to go any further than that to leave it in the dark for people to figure out for themselves. But we're doing that event. And, you guys are just like rushing ahead like super fast. And I'm like coming up behind. I'm like, okay, I'm almost there. And you get to the jumping part of it. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be able to catch up now. Because you're just like, you're in there just like, this goddamn, and I'm just like, boop, 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 boop. I'm like, hey, where am I supposed to go now?
My character just she would not grab the ledge. And I'm like, why? Why can't you grab this fucking ledge? I don't know. Honestly, I think if they just increase the height of the jump a little bit to account for the fact that latency is fucky at times, we would consistently clear jumps. And you should, because that's frustrating when a core mechanic of the game feels like it's failing and then it's impeding your progress because of how rapid the game already is. You spend 30 seconds on a jump, you're like, this is the biggest fucking waste of time ever. And then even more so when you're stuck on a jump and the circle is closing in on your ass, you're like, please climb the fucking ledge. And it's just, oh man, it's so fucking frustrating to happen.
Yeah, so the double jump, you're going to have to practice on that, and your mileage may vary. Like, I've had some situations where I don't think I've ever died because of failing the double jump, but I've had some pretty close calls where like, oh crap, like I stumble a little bit, but usually I'm able to get through it. I don't know why I don't struggle as much, especially because I think a lot of the times you and Tragic would have had the latency advantage, because I'm assuming it would get you guys to host because there's 2 people in the US.
Maybe the jump just needs you to go slower. Your old man reflexes. You're like,
yeah, exactly. You're going too fast. Yeah. And so because I'm slower, it works better for me.
Yeah.
Are you just mashing it? Because I usually don't mash.
I'm usually like jump. Like I'm hitting it at what looks like the peak of my jump, but half the time it's like jump, and then I hit it at the peak, and it's like jump, and I'm like, no. What the fuck is this? Like jump at the peak.
But
don't
you
jump
also,
on the downturn.
I think you also have to hit it again to mantle. I think that's the thing. So you're like, you jump, and then you jump, and then you hit it again to mantle. Like I've done that a couple of times.
The occasional red main camp that has that guy up in the tower.
Yeah.
I have found the best way to do it is to just straight mash the X button.
No.
And I'll just like, yeah.
I mean, I'll usually just like a boop, 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 and I'm there.
When I started mashing, I would like cat crawl up the wall to get me up there consistently. Like, fucking jump, man.
But yeah, the double jumping might be a little bit of struggle. Another thing that we've already brought up earlier in the podcast is resurrection. Resurrection, the way that you res other players when they die is you attack them. So you go up to their corpse and you attack them. And the thing is, you die once, then you get like this one purple thing, and that's easier to res. Then you die twice, you get 2 purple pips. That's a little bit harder, but still doable. You die 3 times and you get 3 purple pips, and that is nightmare scenario unless you have like an ultimate or somebody who can deal just like a crap ton of damage. But even with a crap ton of damage, it still takes a long time to res somebody up from 3 pips.
The best res I've found, Recluse, if you have the Stars of Ruin, 1 star of Ruin is the equivalent of 1 res pip. So I've had people go down and I'm just like, stars, stars, stars. And then I'm back on the boss and they're like, holy shit, I'm alive. And I'm like, yeah, you are. It uses a shit ton of FP, obviously.
Yeah.
But it gets the job done real quick.
But the other thing is also, so those pips, they act like mini checkpoints, but only for a very small period of time. So like somebody's 3 pips and you get 1 pip down. Okay, you got like a couple of seconds to go do something else and come back. But very shortly after, it goes back down to 3. So we've had situations where we're like at 10% of 1 pip. And it's like, oh no, I got to dodge. And then suddenly you look back and it's like, oh, he's back at 3 pips again. Rip. So it gets harder to res. And so those reses.
The best was when we forgot to finish resing you.
And I actually died. I think you didn't even get me.
We got you up.
You did.
We got you up.
Okay.
It was close though, but we had you to like a sliver of a pip, and Tragic was playing Iron Eye, so I assumed another arrow was coming your way, and I was playing like Raider or something.
Yeah, you're both like doing your items.
I see you're at like 1 pip, and I'm like, cool, I'm getting the item now. And then I guess Tragic had the same thought. I was like, cool, I'm getting the item now. And we're just sitting there like, oh, do I want this? Do I want this? So this, and you're like,
and I'm like screaming, guys, help! I'm
dead.
dead.
And I turn around and like the countdown ring is at like this much left, and I'm like, oh, boop, boop, boop. Okay, you're alive now. You're like, look, I thought you were up. You were like, no, you left me at like 4%.
That was the one. That was the one time that you were also going like, oh, do you want this weapon or something like that or whatever it was? And I was like, what do you mean, what weapon? I want you to get me up. Like, just get me up. But yeah, resurrection can be wonky depending on the weapon that you're using. Like I find resing with Guardian and Halberd is
Halberds and
particularly
poking weapons
fucky.
suck to try and res.
Yeah, trying to res people with that, it is very fucky. It is very annoying. And the thing is, you got to res them fast because the boss can come in for a punish when you're trying to res someone mid-boss fight. So it's kind of rough.
I've also seen some fuckiness with ultimates. We had one match where we ended up losing on a Dark Drift fight because me and Lobos went down. I think it was Oro was playing Iron Eye. And like we have crawled to where our characters are holding hands. It's like a fucking Titanic scene.
Oh, and he ults?
He ults and it only gets up Lobos. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm literally touching him. How did this not get me up as well? And then,
yeah.
We promptly died like a second later, but I was like, that's depressing.
So resurrection, double jumping. Now, one that I'm going to add is like we still have that lock-on jank that you get sometimes with bosses, particularly like let's say you're fighting something like an ancient dragon. And it's like, oh, okay. I need to target this boss because he's moving all over the place, or maybe like a specific ability needs me to target him. And it's like, yeah, good luck. Good luck hitting whatever it is you're trying to hit on this boss, because you know they usually fight those bosses without lock-on. And then the camera itself does the usual Elden Ring thing, which is like if you're running forward, you can't like turn your camera back for whatever reason. It gets like all fucky. So you still have some of that jank in there, which I wish they would have done something to improve that experience, but that's just kind of like baked into their engine. I don't know how much they can improve that, but some of the bosses definitely feel more frustrating because of that, because you want to lock on and there's no like, just give me at least a center mass lock on for every boss. Give me a center mass lock on everything. Like, I don't want to be looking at his head. I don't want to be looking at his back tiptoe. Give me a center mass that I can lock onto so that I can do my ultimates and do my things without having to worry about whether or not I'm going to miss it.
I'm not going to talk about what it is, but there's an enemy that you fight that has a large lower mass and then a skinnier upper mass. And the lock-on is to the skinnier upper mass. And on this fight, I was playing Recluse, and I'm trying to throw lightning bolts, and bro is out there like a hula dancer, like, yeah, dodging every lightning bolt. That's like, his lower mass is like 10 times the size, 20 times the size of a lightning bolt. And I'm like, just hit him in the ass and get the lightning. Like, why am I throwing it at his fucking chest? Let me lock on to the large body.
We need center mass lock-ons really bad. Like, every monster should have one center mass lock-on.
Center mass and head. That's it. Center mass and head.
I mean, you can have feet for some of the monsters where you need to attack the feet or something, because that's like easier.
If it's a mechanic, but everything there should be a lock-on.
There should be at the very least,
bulkiest part of the body.
You need like a center mass lock-on. I don't know if they'll
do that. It's like trying to lock on. It's like a snake that has the body of a whale, and instead it locks onto the head that's like going like this, and you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, let me shoot the body, and it's like hit the head, hit the snake head, and you're
just do the PvP thing where people do like a bunch of rotations and then lob out a friggin' pyromancy.
Got to fucking dead angle the boss to hit it properly and shit.
So yeah, that's another thing. And then I think this one is going to be particularly important once the game releases. If you are in a party, whether that is like a party that you've made through your Steam friends list, or if you're using password matchmaking, there shouldn't be a penalty to leave.
Yeah, I brought that up with the PR folks. I was like, and they said that they're going to look into clarity, because I think unless you're doing public matchmaking, there should be no penalty for leaving. Because like if we're going in and it's a boss that's weak against fire, and we look at the map and there's not a single fire camp, we're like, well, trash run, redo.
Yeah.
Like, if we're getting punished for doing that doesn't make sense. But that hasn't been confirmed or denied yet. So
yeah, right now
all penalties were turned off for the review period.
Yeah, so during the review period they turned off penalties, so we're able to just leave matches willy-nilly and it's not a big deal. Now, that's not what we're saying should happen in the final game. Like, clearly, if you're going into public matchmaking, then something else needs to happen.
No, but I mean, if you're playing with friends and you're like, oh shit, my kid needs me, I gotta go. And you're playing with friends, your friends are understanding of that. Like, oh, all right, whatever, dead run. But like, the whole group shouldn't get punished if you're playing privately. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so private
I would assume it's not. I would assume if it's password, or if it's or at the bare minimum, if it's a friend invite lobby, there should not be penalties. If there is, that's something they'll have to patch.
They should fix that if that is the case. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, if you are in a public match, there should be an option to vote at some point, because there are some runs where it just doesn't make sense for you to force the players to go all the way until they lose. Because, like, let's say, oh, we finished night 1 at level 4. Uh-oh. Yeah. You're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna struggle.
Just walk into the rain, bro. Just walk into the rain and end it. Like,
no, but the thing is, you can't, because you'll res. Yeah, because you'll res. The only time that you can actually, lose is if you're doing
after the circle's closed.
After the circle is closed, then 3 of you die, then you lose, and then it's over. But other than that, like, let's say you clutch through night 1 at level 4. I mean, if that's what you guys want to do, that's fine. Go try and see if you can salvage that. But a lot of players might be like, okay, I don't feel like wasting another 20 minutes knowing that I'm going to get nowhere in this run. You're still going to get rewards. You're still going to get like relics and stuff like that.
But they're like tier 1s instead of tier 3s, which
they're not going to be they're not going to be particularly
fodder.
Good. They're not going to be particularly good relics.
Two things that I think are missing that definitely need to get added, especially given the roguelike nature. I want a random Nightfarer selection, because you can queue up for all the bosses, but I can't just randomly pick a Nightfarer. So like right now I'm just going to have like a D8 next to my computer and be like, okay, I'm playing this guy. And then I think there needs to be, when a match or like when characters are being selected, I think there needs to be some type of notification with whether or not someone has a remembrance active. And to explain this for those that don't know. So remembrances are like the side quests for each of your characters. Some of it takes place in solo type events. Some of it takes place out in the field. And the field events usually have decent rewards, like 30,000 runes for everybody to help compel teammates to help you complete it. So hey, like we went the other day, I was doing Iron Eyes and I had to kill this guy for Iron Eye. We kill it, everyone gets 30,000 runes. Cool. But if someone else is like, oh, I'm trying to do this and my Iron Eye is active and they queue in, they're like, where's my thing? They're not informed of it. It's just, oh no, Iron Eye is active. You don't get yours. And so there needs to be some type of information or some type of search, you know, where like, you know, if there's 3 Iron Eyes that want to all do their Iron Eye mission, they could queue up for that. Because otherwise you're just hoping, I hope this guy doesn't have anything
And the
active.
worst part is if you do have 3 Iron Eyes, they're all trying to do the same thing. You can't. Because only one of them can get it, right?
Oh, wow.
I think that's how it works. I don't think that everyone can get it. Because I think only one person gets it at a time. So because the way that it works is, in order for you guys to queue in Remembrance, you have to like go to the Remembrance mode, because Nighthold has like 2 different modes. Is when you're in normal mode, and then there's when you're in Remembrance mode and you're doing your side quests, stuff like that.
Everything's foggy.
Yeah, it's foggy Nighthold basically, and you have to queue in from foggy Nighthold to get your Remembrance, and then you start getting like matchmaking limitations because not everybody can queue up for the same. And then with passwords, it seems to work most of the time. But the thing is, the way that we were doing it is we would just say, okay, you want to do your Remembrance? Okay, I'm getting out of Remembrance mode so we can ensure that you get yours. And then I go in and we do mine. It's like we were doing round robin, but if you're just queuing into matchmaking randomly.
You're just hoping someone doesn't have one active.
Yeah. So ideally what you want to do is like join Discords. I would recommend probably with people, join Cowboy's Discord, join my Discord. And
well, so this is, somebody sent me this thing. I'll drop the link in your chat. As far as I know, I think it's just like a simple website they made. But they created a whole thing for Nightreign for people to like find people to match up with.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Covenantmatch.com. Okay. That'll probably be a good idea to, especially to sync up to do remembrances and do round robin remembrances.
I don't know much about it, but it's just, he said, you know, blah, blah, blah. This is a side project. It's something I created to help people matchmake for people. Veterans can squad up for painful runs, or beginners can learn the ropes without being dragged through trauma. Blah, blah, blah.
Tricephalo struggle bus.
Yeah. Like, if you think this is something useful, please share it. So
yeah, we'll see how that ends up working out. But definitely, by the way, if you guys join for a round robin Remembrance, finish the round robin. Don't be an asshole. Don't be like, oh, got mine. See you boys later. Good luck. Because I can already, I'm hoping that's not the case. But like, I know that in stuff like World of Warcraft, shit like that would happen all the time. People are like, got my loot. Good luck, suckers. See ya. It's like, that fucking sucks. So don't be that guy. Do proper round robins.
That was really bad in like looking for raid and type shit. People would just join, be the first boss.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they don't get the loot on the first boss and they're like, well, GG.
Yeah, could you fucking stay, please?
Yeah, finish the run. Just finish the run. Don't be an ass. Like, but yeah, I've seen that quite often as well in Mythic Plus and stuff like that. People just do that.
So do you want to talk about the roguelike aspect of the game?
Absolutely. I have it coming up right next, which I was going to say the replayability, map variation, dynamic effects, that type of stuff. So bring us in.
I think it's I think it needs work. I think it's a lot weaker than it could have been.
Okay. I mean, you play way more roguelikes than me, so what you say goes.
So part of the problem is, like, yeah, the loot that drops will be random and the night bosses will be random, but there is a lot that is pre-established. Like,
and
church
by the
locations
way,
are random.
Real quick, when Cowboy is saying night bosses, so there's night lords and night bosses. Every run is going to be go in there, farm, do night boss 1, go in there again, farm, do night boss 2. Those 2 are random. And then go in there and do night boss 3, and that's the night lord. Not really night boss, night lord. But yeah, you have 2 night bosses that are going to be random every run. Sorry, continue.
But that's your main random, you know. And when we drop in, like, if there's shifting earth, so there's 4 different shifting earth events. When those show up, it's kind of fun. but Shifting Earth itself is static in terms of the enemy layout, in terms of the loot layout, and so you know the route, you do the route, you get the rewards, you get out.
So the map itself, basically a portion of the map gets replaced with a different version. So the only one that we should talk about, I think they've shown this one at PAX, which was the Shifting Earth, the magma, whatever, volcano. I think they showed off that one. And so what can happen, there's like the center of the map just becomes like a crater, and it's got lava on it, and there's bonuses and special events down there. And you go down there, you do the thing, you get bonuses. But other events that will happen is also the same thing. So they basically replace a section of the map with a different thing, and you go in there and you do an event in that thing, and you get some power-ups and, you know, good times. And there's also like achievements and whatnot associated with that stuff, but those are static, so they can randomly happen in the map. But when it's not like you're going to get, oh, this time we got North Crater, or the next day we got South Crater. No, it's like Crater's always in the same place. It's always the same layout. It's always the same stuff that is in there. So yeah.
And not just that, but like, even like, you know, I know if the southern mine is up, whether I'm coming from the left or the right, I know exactly how to drop into the southern mine, kill the troll, get my reward. Every time I kill him, he's going to drop that upgrade stone.
Yeah.
Almost every time, if that crater is there, I know we can hit the jumpy, go up. There's usually going to be a church right there, and then there's going to be a stone sword keel. Like 9 times out of 10. If that's the bottom map. So I guess the best way to describe it is, instead of being a true roguelike, it feels like there are just a couple seeds, like maybe 10 seeds. And once you've seen those seeds, your runs just become super optimized. Where you're like, oh, we have this seed. Boom, 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 boom. And you know where you're going. And so the real randomness just comes in the form of what 2 night bosses you're going to fight and what specific loot is going to drop. And I feel like the seed randomization could be a lot better. Churches should be, like, there's like, I'd say 8 set church locations at any given time. And I know every single one of those locations. I've never seen the church off in the bumfuck corner, or like close to the middle of the map. Like, you know, if the central castle is there, the central castle is always there. It's going to have 3 sets of enemies, either trolls, crucible knights, or banished knights, 100% of the time. I know that if it's the trolls, it's going to be a certain boss. I know that if it's the crucible knights, it's going to be a certain boss. And, you know, I see a frost ruin. I see jellyfish. Oh, yep, that's jellyfish and Zamor knights. I see a fire camp. Oh, there we go. That's going to be the fire guys. I see a fire shrine. Oh, okay. Either it's a fire monk down below, or it's going to be a golem up top.
You wanted more variation. You were able to get. Would you say you've seen all of the seeds in your 60 hours so far?
I think so. Because the only one I didn't have was the random boss events, like Augur Raid and stuff. Which they showed that in recent footage, so I don't think that's spoilers anymore. But that was like the last one I was missing, and I had that happen, which that was cool. But like, you know, it's like, I want more like that. I want more random raids. I want more random double bosses like the one we encountered. Stuff like that is not as common as it should be for a roguelike. And, you know, to be fair, when you look at something like Hades, for example, like, I know I'm going to fight boss A, B, and C as I go through my run, but the runs and the type of rooms I'm experiencing and the type of items I'm finding could vary drastically between runs. And I feel like it's like, there have been times where we've gotten a seed and been like, oh no, this run's not going good, and we've killed it, and then we've loaded in, and it's the same exact seed. We had the same seed 3 times in a fucking row. And we were like, after the second time, I was like, well, the south route's not really working out for us. We're ending night 1 around level 6. I guess, fuck it, let's just go northeast instead and see how things work out. I had one time where the same, like, I mean, same seed, as in like, same boss spawned at the ruin, same boss spawned at the stone sword key. And it's just like, I want more RNG. I want way more RNG. I want more enemies in the ruins.
You want more variation. Yeah.
If I'm going to a fire ruin, 100% of the time, if it's a fire ruin, it's either fire monk or it's fire golem. That's it. If it's the sacred ruin, almost 100% of the time, it's the Doot Doot boys.
I mean, but the thing about that is that is something that I would imagine they can change by just adding more things. Because I would imagine they will have
can.
made Limveld modular to a point where it's like, okay, let's work on another thing that can spawn here. Let's work on another different thing that can spawn
Yeah.
here, and so they can modulate that and just add more things over time.
No, they absolutely can. And, you know, like I said, I still like the game. I still have a lot of fun playing it with friends. But the randomization of the various world blips feels closer to what I would expect out of like an early access roguelike. Like I would
mean,
put
but
it
it
comparable
also
to like
has-
Hades 2 in early access.
It also has the co-op portion of it, which a lot of
It
roguelikes
does. I mean,
don't
this
have.
isn't saying it's a bad game. It's just from
Yeah.
a roguelike perspective that, you know, looks at randomization for runs and how things are going to go. I think it like that's most of the reason that I knocked an entire point off its score. As a roguelike, it needs to do way better, I think.
I think one of the things that would have been good is for it to support mods, but I'm not sure how that part's going to work out because it does have anti-cheat on it.
That's
So-
irrelevant for PC. It doesn't fucking matter.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't.
No, we've done the PC Elden Ring. People have seamless co-op. I don't know if you've ever played that. Seamless co-op is super
No,
cool.
I haven't done it yet.
It runs it so it blocks anti-cheat and it runs on its own little private server. So like
Oh,
you
okay.
and me could play seamless co-op and we go through the entire game together. We're going to round table hold together. We're leveling up together. People can invade you because it's all on its own standalone set server. We're both running around on fucking torrent together. The invaders running around on torrent chasing us. Like seamless co-op is cracked. So PC for this game, I'm sure within like the first month or two, there's going to be some wild fucking shit where like people are like yoinking in every boss for like people are going to be pulling fucking Bloodborne assets out of the Bloodborne emulation pack. I guarantee it. Give a month and a half, you're going to have fucking Cleric Beast running around in Nightreign. I guarantee it. And there we go. That's going to be the peak Nightreign experience.
Once we get more mods and stuff in there.
Well, because they said there's supposed to be something like 100 bosses. It does not feel like 100.
Oh, you mean
Unless
on the
we're-
game right now?
Unless we're counting like Zamor Knights and a Miranda Flower in that count.
They
for 100.
probably are. They
Yeah.
probably are counting that, or like the
Give me-
Albinorix or something like that.
Yeah,
It's-
like that's not a fucking boss. That's 3 dickheads with a wooden club. Like, give me, dude. I want to see them yoink bosses across the entire FromSoft catalog and mod that shit into the game, and then it will be peak Nightreign. I want a Night 2 to start and fucking Orphan of Cause shows up. And I'm like, it's fucking go time. That's what I want.
But
and that's another thing that's weird. There is a distinct lack of proper Elden Ring bosses. Like for night bosses, I have seen
because they're
Morgott.
bringing in mostly Dark Souls bosses, and
Yeah,
from the
I've
previous games.
seen Morgott. I've seen Big and Skinny, and I've seen Night Boss. That might be it.
No, I think
No,
we've
I've seen Godfrey once.
Godfrey. I haven't seen that one actually.
Yeah, Dragon Arm Man, or I think it might have been the golden version. But I've never seen like none of the Remembrance bosses basically. Like Millennia ain't showing up, Horlu ain't showing up, Malekith ain't showing up.
Maybe they're saving
think-
some of those for later. I mean, I don't know if that's the
maybe.
case or not, but I would imagine that they're probably working on, because this is a game that they can easily expand with more and more stuff to just put in there. And that's the other thing that I have in here, which is they've spoken about there's going to be DLC for the game, and apparently the one thing that is mentioned is additional characters and bosses, but there's no like specificity to it at all, so we don't know what is getting added.
I'd be curious about what characters, because it feels like they covered most of your archetypes pretty well. So I don't know. I mean, we have a faith character, we have a spell sword character, we have a pure casting character, we have tank, unga bunga, we have all rounder, we have ranged. Like what archetypes?
I mean, I don't know. Like Revenant is kind of an out of the box archetype, and even Recluse is kind of out of the box in the way that it plays out.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that like Revenant, Recluse, and Executor which I think weren't these like the last 3 ones to kind of no. Recluse was revealed fairly early.
Revenant and Executor were revealed.
Yeah. So, but these are more niche type characters. Sure, it's a spellcaster, but it's a spellcaster that needs to draw magic from enemies, and then the other one has summons, and then Executor's a parry dude.
I'm just curious to see what they come up with. Are we gonna have Bloodborne Man? Guns come in and he can gun parry.
I mean, that would be really cool. I'm sure that Sony would have something to say about that.
I could see a dedicated like sellsword, like a dual wield class.
Yeah, see, you've already come up with one. You can have a dual wield class. But there's
dual wielder.
I'm sure you can think of more. Like, what about imagine dual crossbow wielding class?
Nah. We don't need Avalons. We don't need Avalons here.
Power stancing crossbows. That's the way to do it.
They're gonna put my mundane Santier spear monstrosity in as a boss.
Something along those lines. But yeah, that's kind of like most of the stuff that we need to talk about when it comes to Nightreign. That's pretty much everything that I was going to say everything we know so far, but pretty much everything that's in the game so far we've talked about.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about specific bosses because it's like we're not going to be telling guys strategies or anything at this point because it wouldn't make sense.
I mean, we could just let's talk general experience. So, Tricephalos. Thoughts on Tricephalos?
Tricephalos is fairly straightforward. I thought that it was kind of like easy in the network test, like easier than I expected. I feel like they spruced him up just a smidge, maybe. I don't even know if they changed anything or not, or if I'm just worse at the game. But I do remember that in the network test, it felt easier. But, there's not a whole lot to him, I feel like. He's a fairly straightforward boss, but he's fun. I like him.
I think he's, a good starter boss. Gaping Jaw.
Okay, that goddamn electric... Like, bro, just like Zappy Boy jumping all over. No, bro, he's too fast for my old man reflexes, okay?
he's a bit spastic. I like the boss overall though. There's some very fun unconventional strategies that you can come up with in that fight.
Sentient. So this boss, I really don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about it at all because I don't want to spoil literally anything about it. Quite unique, and I think it's pretty fun. I'll just leave it at that. Quite unique.
I really like
fun.
Sentient. I think Sentient forces your team to adapt, which is cool.
Yeah. The next one can go away and just not come back. Yeah.
I don't know anybody that's like, I love Augur. It's one of the best bosses.
This is so good. And by the way, guys, these things we're saying, these are like the mission names. So these aren't even the boss names or anything like that. So if you're like, oh, they're spoiling the boss. These are not the boss names. These are the mission names. So nothing will get spoiled. You guys will not know what this is about at all. So.
Equilibrious Beast, I like a lot. I do think that once you figure out stuff, he kind of turns into a pushover, though.
I don't know. I've only done him once. Like most of these, I've only done once in this weekend with you. So my experience is limited. But like I liked him. I thought he was fun. I like his gimmick thing that happens. Yeah. So that's interesting.
I think the fight we had yesterday, where I single-handedly bullied him as Raider, I was like, oh no. Dark Drift.
I don't know how I feel about that one just yet, but I think I like him.
Cracked. I think he might be the hardest. I think.
I don't know, because like when we killed Equi, you guys were all saying, "Oh, this is the hardest one," and then we killed the one. No, this is actually the hardest one. It's like, oh, okay.
I think
it just keeps going up.
I think lock on and mobility with Dark Drift make him a very difficult boss.
Again, it's the complaints that I had about lock on.
If you have his weakness, it definitely alleviates him a ton. Without his weakness, oh my god.
Yeah.
Fissure.
I almost want to say I want to say this thing that I said yesterday when we were fighting him, but I'm not going to. Okay. But some bad memories from someone else, basically, is what I'll say.
I like the oh shit moment we had in the fight. What's that?
Oh, crap. What the hell's going on? Oh no.
And then last one we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the last one, but yeah, those are the boss. I think that it's a nice starting roster, and I think that people will have fun with these. But I think one of the most important things about them is that they kind of almost work like self-contained raid bosses from an MMO. So like you're meant to progress through them, to just like experience them. So I would actually recommend people don't instantly look up a guide. Like face them a couple of times, because all you're doing is robbing yourself the joy of like figuring it out. That's the thing.
I mean, it doesn't matter. People are gonna be like, "When's the walkthrough coming?" Day one. When's the walkthrough coming?
Yeah, because and you listen. You have to reset your save so that you do the remembrance stuff. Time to reset your save, cowboy. No, come on.
Nah,
it's not time to reset your save, bro. Come on, let's go. I might reset my save. I might reset my save.
I considered it, but I've unlocked over 100,000 currency worth of dank outfits, and I'm not going back.
You have too much drip going on right now.
I have way too much drip going on.
Which by the way, guys,
speaking of, I have very mixed feelings about the drip. Some of the drip is top tier. Some of the drip is fucking trash.
Yeah, true. I've seen some of those. You guys were showing me some of those yesterday.
Yeah, Remembrance and Duchess full story drip is like, the fuck is this? Oh, she's got a brooch on her outfit now. That's it? That's it? What about this? Oh, she got rid of her bracelets. Meanwhile, Raider's drip is like, yeah, I'm fucking Horaloo now. Like, bro, those are not comparable.
Stop spoiling skins, okay? Let's just say that not all cosmetic drip is made alike. The same way that we're talking about not all night farers were created equally as well.
Yeah. Well, so to talk about that a little bit, because I brought it up. And let me preface this by saying that if we consider a run like the test, FromSoft has given everybody a cheat sheet. The visual codex in this game has so much fucking information. It has full breakdowns of every spell, every weapon, the scaling, the stats for your characters, explanations of their abilities. Read. The first thing you should do in this game is just, after you're through the tutorial, go to the fucking visual codex, read everything. It breaks down what everything on the map is, what all the various, what spaces contain, like where you're finding seals, where you're finding staves, where you're finding clues. Read that shit. Because it's very, like, that's why I know routes and I know where I'm going, because I read the fucking visual codex. But so a lot of the characters don't have very high health. Like going through it in particular, the three that are the roughest, you have Duchess, who's only at C in HP, and she excels off of multiplying the damage of her teammates, which makes her less than ideal for solo play. And then both Revenant and Recluse have D-scaling HP, which means they get sneezed on and they fucking die, which is very, very stressful in a solo type setting.
Yeah.
And so I think Recluse solo runs are going to be the hardest. I think Duchess, just because of how evasive you are, you might be able to pull it off, and Revenant, you at least have your summons. But like, dude, I tried doing a solo Recluse run, and I got Wormface as a boss. And you know how it poops out rats and crabs and all this other bullshit. And I am just scooting in a big circle around the arena while he's chasing me. I'm just barely out of death range, and I'm like, cast, scoot, I gotta kill this. You die, cast, scoot. It was like 10 minutes of it, and it was going along, and finally I was just like, no, I'm quit. I'm done. No. This is fucking miserable.
Just go ahead and take me. I'm done.
Yeah,
the Night Lord wins.
Whereas like going in with Raider, I'm just like, stagger, boom, hammer to face, gobble death pustule, smash, busted, night 2, let's go. Or like Wilder, big fire explosion, fucking stagger.
I need to play more Wilder, that's for sure, because of the big explosion arm that he's got going, kind of like a gun lance.
It's a fucking gun lance.
Yeah, dude, I need to play more. I need to play more Wilder. I think I'm gonna be playing a lot more Wilder once the game actually releases. But yeah, we'll see how that pans out, because I still like my big tanky boy. Big tanky boy is nice. I like him a lot.
I want to play more Recluse, but I want to see if I can fine tune a way to manage all my magic. And I really want to play more Executor.
Executor just feels like it'll be rough because of the aggro thing, but yeah. At the end of the day, is it a recommendation or not? I think it's a recommendation. I think it's a ton of fun, and it's a very cool experimental title. Is it even full price? Like, what's the price on this thing?
It's cheaper.
Oh, it's 40 bones. For at least in Europe, it's 40 bones for the standard version.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it at that price. If you're into this, and again, if you're into this type of gameplay and you're able to either, get 2 more people to play with you, or you're okay with finding 2 more people to play with you, because I don't know what matchmaking situation is going to be like on release, okay? I don't know what that's going to be like.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you got friends that you want to get into this with, I think that will be a blast. I think that this is, however, this is not the type of game that you're with your friends and you're just like, oh yeah, let's, you guys catch the show last night? Oh man, yeah, that was crazy. At least in your first 20 hours, you're not playing like that. You're gonna be like, gotta get the fire camp, now. Gotta go get that church. What do you mean you didn't get the church? Now you only have 4 potions. What the fuck? It's like, gotta get the mine. Gotta get this thing. Then the first at least 20 hours, if you're playing with your friends, you're gonna be in go mode. You're not going to be like, oh, man, did you catch the show last night? Oh, man, what about that game, huh? Oh, man, yeah, that was good. So I was like, yeah, that's not the type of banter you're going to be having when you're playing this for the beginning. Maybe later you'll be able to reach that. It is kind of like try hard sweat mode.
Cruising.
Yeah. So it's kind of like try hard sweat mode. And if you're up for that, which personally I am, I think that is really cool what they've done here. And I think it's a neat experimental title for them. So I'm excited for it. But I'm curious. What do you think the reviews are going to be like? Considering
I think honestly, 7 out of 10s.
You think that's what people are going to go for? I don't know. I don't like to put scores to things, but I think I would recommend it. I think it's a fun game. I'm gonna have some fun playing it. After
I
it
recommend it, but like I said, I think when you're playing it there's a significant difference between playing with friends,
pre-mades versus matchmaking. Yeah, pre-made versus matchmaking is, if you're the type of person that doesn't mind struggling with randoms, sure. I don't think there's a lot of people like that out there. So it's like pre-mades, I think, is going to be the way to go. So like maybe the Covenant match thing, Discord servers where you can team up with people that will be decent at it. But yeah, it's at least the version that we played is going to be challenging, which is good. I like that. I like the fact that it's like, sure, you can do it solo, but you'll have a whole lot of a better time playing with 3 other people. I like that because it means it's scaled properly for 3 people. You're not just going in there and beating things.
With friends, not with randoms.
Yeah.
With friends. It's an important caveat.
Yeah, comms heavily recommended, very useful, particularly if anybody in your team is like, oh man, I really want to play Recluse. We should get on comms so that, you need lightning. I can give you lightning. There you go. And also it's very useful. So even just the thing of us letting other people know that hey, I'm doing my ultimate. Just saying the words, I'm doing my ultimate.
We've started doing where we've had nights where it's the circle's closing in. We had one the other day where we looked around and there's not much we can do. And I was playing Raider and I was like, all right, I'm going to go up north and I'll just smash this ice camp. If y'all want to hit that castle that's down south. And so I smashed the ice camp. They smashed the council down south. And then I went to the castle south to get the loot. They ran up to the ice camp and then we collapsed on the tree. And so we all got the same rewards and we netted an extra 50,000 runes by doing it that way.
Yeah.
But just assuming, I don't fucking trust some random to go off and smash an ice camp. I trust people I'm playing with to go solo camps, but that is, that's the difference.
Yeah.
The random going to go off and then die and then, trouble. Well.
And that's the other thing. We didn't even say this, but when you die, you lose a level. You just straight up lose a level, and then you have to go back to get that up because losing a level
runes, that
is
level's gone.
massive. It is massive to lose a level in this game. But yeah, that's Nightreign. We've enjoyed it so far. We're going to be playing the crap out of it as the game comes out here on the 30th. But for now, that's going to be it. There's going to be links to Cowboy stuff in the description down below. There's going to be episodes of this coming out on both of our channels. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong. Stay safe. Peace out.